Hamude, step back. Bediako rebound.
You know, Brad, what I like about the Grand Rapids defense, they're not allowing any second chance opportunities. No offensive rebounds for the Herd early on.
Yeah, good call. 9-7 right now, the rebounding advantage for Grand Rapids. Alexander 0 for his first 5 today. Got to get him started as he knifes into the lane with the left.
Well, all he
today. Handoff to Alexander. Doubled along the perimeter. Now gets tripled. Bediako the touch pass and an extra one. 5 to shoot. Trey jabs, drives, rises and reverses.
It was 14 points, so he's been in double figures every game. But on pace for a season low, but still some basketball left.
Closeout defense by Wisconsin. Grand Rapids can't free themselves up. Alexander's got to go here with 3 to shoot into the lane. Tough hit in the paint. First basket today.
Yeah, can you imagine if he had gotten going earlier, and fortuitous for GR, but we don't need a Mude to heat up.
He defends Alexander, takes him off the dribble, fades from a comfortable spot on the floor. Ends up with it. Horton, wing side triple. And a lot of looks here. Alexander finally delivers. Played his high school ball at Christ Church Episcopal in Greenville, South Carolina. His father was his head coach there.
Huh, got a brother in Greenville. How about that?
John Butler Jr. played with his brother in high school. Same brother, you and him?
I don't have to look it up. Over.
Winslow, a little short. Alexander's got 12 in the quarter, looking for more. Gets pushed off his spot and still fills it up. Butler wins the tip. Winslow rims off, and Grand Rapids has a chance to tie or take the lead. Alexander, you bet! Grand Rapids.
He looks very different depending on what half of him you look at. Grand Rapids down by 1. Just underway here at Van Andel. Trey Alexander, one of the top scorers in the NBA G League, looking to hit the score sheet. Nearly got a hit out of his hand. 5 seconds for Grand Rapids to shoot. First chance of the day for Alexander. Gotta hurry, and he scores!
That was a great job of just finding his spot, too, in the corner.
Poke away. McLaughlin helps out, and Richardson feeds Trey Alexander. Yes! All the way! They cannot miss. They like playing in GR. Trey Alexander tries to get it back, and he does. And not on Saturday. Tyree Key pops out. Grand Rapids is going to need a few more of those tough luck misses to crawl their way back into this. Trey Alexander, spot up triple. Got it!
And that time they did right there.
Triple try. Off the side of the rim for Quincy Guerrier. Like the gold scorer here. Let's see the Raptors take a timeout. They could get it to 10 here. Alexander trying to do just that, and he does! Muscles through Bediako. That was a gritty bucket there for the Raptors. Alexander all the way in for 2. Not there, but Tevian Jones is. Spins. Not there, another offensive rebound. Alexander with room. He gives the Gold the lead. And if you're watching this in Denver right now, talk about setting the table nicely for Nuggets Lakers tonight. Richardson double teamed. Nearly got it taken away. Trey Alexander somehow finds the...
Both players had a technical foul. It was clearly a common foul on Skapintsev. He prohibited movement by the offensive player somewhat aggressively. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't be picking up a second personal foul there. I can't believe the Grand Rapids bench is comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Working baseline, Alexander wheels around perpendicular. He's got Weems on him, turnaround. Such a tough shot for as he knocks down the free throw. And your point about Alexander's defense on a day where he's not had the shooting touch, just 1 of 7, he's helped in other ways. That's what good players do, and his defense has been exceptional. Alexander off the high, screen from Williams, dancing in the paint, the step back from his favorite spot. There we go. That might jumpstart him. In Grand Rapids doing the job offensively, shooting 55% with a torrid second quarter. And a chance to close it out, up by 9. 32 in the big clock. And Trey Alexander, Sissoko for Rip City.
Who would be big for them right now.
Right, very athletic, physical at a 6'6" frame. Alexander with the putback on the turnover. I've seen a few New Zealand Breakers players this year. Good tip away by Alexander on the pickpocket. Trying to take it all the way and rolls it off the window. Four in double figures for Grand Rapids, led by Spencer Jones with the career high 33. Currently on the far side as Alexander drives in the lane. The step back up over the reach. Got it away at the buzzer. Deployed by either team today. As Spencer Jones with the inbound. 33 points by the rookie out of Stanford. And in the hands of Trey Alexander with Rupert on him. Battle of two really fine young players. Trey in the lane, scoop and score, and he's going to the line. 35 for the rookie. 108.99.
Double-double for Spence. Best game of his G League career, and this is first year as a two-way man for the Nuggets. 35 and 10, 14 of 23 from the floor, 6 of 13 from 3.
Yeah, beautiful. 6 3-balls, a career high as well. A lot of good things. Trey Alexander to the rack, give him 22. And by Williams gave Rip City a little bit of advantage on that fast break, and Randall with a big knockdown. He had a 43-point game against the Herd a little while ago.
Yeah, he's a big-time scorer in this league and has been for a couple of years. Trey Alexander, the baseline hit and the foul in his second of the game.
Yeah, not known as a three-point shooter, just 30% coming in, but he's averaged 12 points as a starter, and he's 10 for his last 22 from 3, so he's got a hot hand lately.
And Trey Alexander has the... Really like to see him finish a little bit closer to about 40%.
Yes.
Here in the G League.
Certainly capable. He had a nice season last year. I believe he was 39.5 with GR last year. Tailed off a little bit when he was signed by Chicago in a two-way.
Richardson to Alexander. The triple falls.
Boy, 17 a game in the few games he's played with Rip City, and they really need that. Like we talked about, Drell took his 17 points a game to Spain, so he's been a nice fill.
Alexander goes opposite a screen, gets into the lane where he likes to work. Rises on the return and cans it. The Grand Rapids back in front, looking to extend the lead now. Wide open, Alexander, no. Extra effort. 75 seconds remain in the first half.
Yeah, Spencer kept it alive with a tip out. Great play by Spencer Jones.
Alexander's got to rise here. And connects.
Well, that pull-up in the first game in a few weeks with 11. I checked that, 13.
Former New Zealand Breaker, which for you kind of deep professional basketball folks, that's where Taco Fall is right now. How about Trey Alexander, another triple? And now Bediako rips it away. As we talk about Skopinsev, Mike,
yeah,
do you think of any other Ukrainian-born basketball players you've seen in this league? There's one over the yard.
Okay.
He did play in the G, okay. And he did play for the Grand Rapids Drive.
Is that
right?
right?
We were both a little off. He was there in the 2018-19 season.
Okay.
3 games. Back when they were a Pistons affiliate, that's right. Trey Alexander, downtown, fill it up.
It'll be interesting to see how things pan out. Mamba trapped underneath the bucket, trying to get rid of it with the shot clock running short, and it's a steal for Tevian Jones, who we just talked about. He sets up Trey Alexander for the first bucket of the night. Grand Rapids by 3. Jalen Crutcher trying to do something about it. Nice find for Oduro, but Hall sent him back. PJ Hall doing a bit of everything in this third quarter. Alexander's got the switch on Oduro right now. Lofton's also got a mismatch inside as Alexander hoists and finishes.
Wow. And probably will make the difference in the end if they are to win this basketball game.
Antonio Reeves gets the fourth quarter started in a 2-point game. Fall away from Alexander is pure. As many fouls as we've had called in this game. Hard to believe Mo Bamba's got just one now. Bediako gives it back to Alexander, who runs the show for the gold.
Well, when you say run the show, is he ever more running that show?
13-point lead for the gold midway through this fourth quarter. Reeves off the window, no. Only done for Birmingham on that trip.
Alexander is next to impossible when he decides to take that ball off the bounce, and I just...
7 tonight as Quinones tacks on 2 more. Mr. Quinones doing all he can to keep giving the squadron some scores.
Down 15, you're going to have to get stops, as we said, if you're going to have any chance to make a comeback.
Alexander hits the open 3. Jones still working a little gingerly here. But Grand Rapids not in any hurry, up 24 with a minute to play.
Tell you what, you better not show Galen Robinson that basketball or he'll take it from you.
Galen Robinson with 3 steals tonight. Alexander over Montgomery hits. And it's just been...
But, you know, Maine went 7-1 in the month of February. They shot only 31% from 3 as a team. It was all on the defensive end.
To the rack and 1, Alexander. 14 to shoot, 4-point lead, trying to make it 7, skips off. Another offensive board. McLaughlin, he does it about as well as Bediako, the good 1-2 punch in the offensive carom category. That's 7 already for GR. 4 to shoot. Kick out. Quick trigger. Alexander does not disappoint. 44. Completely agree, is trying to find the 3-point touch. Shackle hook pass. Corner pocket 3-ball. Short. And Alexander clears up the mess. He takes it over the Gentex Corporation logo. In traffic. Window kiss. Wowza! Bucket or two, a couple stops. Plenty of time. 7:26 left. But GR shooting now 34% to 46 for Maine.
Yeah, 1 of 9 from the floor in the first 4.5 minutes of this frame. Defense really cracking down for the Celtics.
Agreed. They've taken out the lane. PJ's been out too. Alexander responds. Boy, he loves that elbow, left or right.
We go to the locker room, but I think if you're Grand Rapids, you don't actually feel all that bad about the score right now, considering the way you've shot the ball. You're going to shoot it better in the second half. You're not going to finish shooting 36%. If water just trickles up a little bit, you're right back in this ball game.
And just like that, Trey taking his time.
Basket. That 3-point shot that was just made by Imani Bates. Wow.
I think that was a wise call.
Trey Alexander has the answer on the other end. Michigan, including today, rose into the low 50s. Had some rain, too. Alexander with raindrops.
Travers, nothing but net as Travers shooting 33%, but he's a selective 3-point shooter.
Bediako working in the high post. Now with Alexander. Cleveland on a pretty lengthy run now, and it's silenced by Trey.
One of the biggest
really
of the
good
season.
Crowd.
And we really got to get him involved. A little bit by GR would not take much.
Shots were falling early for Grand Rapids. Here's Alexander trying to get it going again. 5-star recruit on his way to Memphis. Still trying to find his way into a consistent NBA role after being dubbed one of the best prospects in the history of basketball. Alexander, the 16-footer, bottoms.
Yeah, and that time
made threes. This is Luke Travers from 3. Way short. Alexander to the rim, catches the body.
And you know, Brad, you've talked about this at halftime, you and I. This is not the same Cleveland team that really played the bulk of the games. They've had guys shifting around, guys coming off injuries. two-way guys that haven't played a lot with Cleveland. So maybe the record does not dictate the talent level.
Well, they played 23 games in the regular season. Imani Bates has only played 13 of them. Trey Alexander makes all.
Perth and Melbourne, unless you're in Sydney, and that's a long haul.
More zone here. They put it in the middle of the pocket. Trey on a slow offensive possession here, rattles it in, and they needed it. Look at him work into the lane, no good.
Wow, he's had it. He's had it with the referee.
Alexander, it's a 1-point game since the last sub.
That's a lot with the pace that this game has progressed.
Yeah, these five are going to play the last 9 minutes of the game for Grand Rapids. Let's see if they can hold on. Trey Alexander, bottoms!
11.
Grand Rapids now just one possession away from victory. They could win it right here. Three-point sends us home. Alexander with Hunt on him. Screen from Bediako. Attacks the rim. Kicks out McLaughlin. Extra pass to Trey. A three wins it. He's inside the arc. Got it off and spins it in.
To imagine when you listen.
Possession, Grand Rapids to start the second frame. And Brad, you called it pretty even minutes across the board for all 10 players who played in this first quarter for GR.
Again, you mentioned it earlier, second night of a back-to-back against a slightly fresher team. Cleveland's coming off a one-day rest, but it's on Andre Miller as Alexander hits the middle.
Playing hard defensively. They double up on Spencer. Out to JW. Side iron.
Good fight.
Kick out. Yes. If you can't get the board, just try and keep it active. And with the finish. A lot of dunks by Cleveland tonight. Miscues in the lane. Rough turnover for the Gold. And they had it back by 7. Trying to look for that big run. Cleveland, who gives up 111 a game, has kept them at bay in that department. Step back. Alexander, you bet. Money shot. They have Hughes' second straight triple. The answer indeed. Team that averaged at 107 points per game with 91 and a full quarter to play. Alexander sells a fake step back, and he responds with Bates on him. Spencer, leaner, no good. Offensive rebound. Alexander, top of the key. Yahtzee!
To shine. Turnovers for Cleveland. Offensive rebounds for the Gold. Can the home crowd kind of help will this team along on a Tuesday night, too?
You bet. Really nice Tuesday night crowd. Gold without Tevian Jones, ejected after a flagrant foul. Alexander, right elbow, with a finish. Yes! And he gets... Grand Rapids down by 12, 4 minutes and counting in this one. There's Trey Alexander. Mismatch on Thor, has a seam, uses a little body and shovels it in off the... I was talking to Scott Zarella, Cleveland broadcaster. They love the plethora of restaurants. JT Thor, one of the best places to stay in the league. Not Grand Rapids night. 3 games in 4 nights might have caught up with them as Alexander with authority.
Grand Rapids 6-point lead, their largest of the game. Cumberland, big body into the paint. And P.J. Hall the rebound.
Brad, how good is it to see Jalen Williams back after missing 6 games? He really gives Grand Rapids some stretch defensively when Bediako's out of the game.
Well, they can get really big here with Bediako, and...
This is only his second game, if I'm not mistaken, with Delaware in the regular season.
Yep, made his debut with them on a 2-way contract Saturday. Alexander a deep 2. Mobley quickly on the other end over Bediako. Alexander backpedals for 2. Mohammed looks up at the shot clock, spins against Richardson, and scores a tough one.
And Delaware getting some looks here in the third quarter down low. They're shooting almost 60% in this third frame. Wow.
Trey Alexander. A lot of home games here to finish February And in March for Grand Rapids, 12 of their final 14 at home. We're in game 2 of that stretch tonight as they trail by 4 against Delaware. Alexander looking to get him going, a big-time make.
Video feed.
Free throw for Cumberland puts Delaware back in front. He's got their last 6. Alexander step back, top side 3, you bet. But something to monitor.
Yes.
Grand Rapids only 1 team foul.
5 will get you in the bonus.
Richardson doesn't want the topside screen, instead wants Alexander. Picked up by McCaw, now uses the Bediako. Has Mobley pulled out. 2 to shoot. Trey's got to go. Fading over the big, fills it up. And Tevian hounding Cumberland, who looked a little tired on the end of that play, just flicking it up and missing.
I agree. I think he might be fatiguing a bit. He's played a lot of minutes.
Alexander gets the switch they want. Bediako removes Cumberland from the play. Trey. Oh my!
Left off. A quick look inside. And a miss there. The first shot of the night for Alex Reese. Trey Alexander, the only player on a 2-way, gets 2. McCaw's in for the first time today. Mintz all alone. Fight for the basketball commanded by Grand Rapids. Trey Alexander trying to get his offense going. A friendly roll falls. Aminu Muhammad. Now those shots not falling as easily for Delaware in this second quarter. Trey Alexander, that's got to be a goaltend, and it is. Mobley trying to stretch the floor. Grand Rapids could hypothetically get it down to 10 before the end of this half.
Yeah, Trey kind of realizing that if he goes quick enough, they could go 2 for 1, and he managed.
About his talents here tonight. He has not thrown cold water on anything unless it's considered what Grand Rapids did in the early stages of this contest. They're down by 16. They need some buckets to start us off in half number 2. Trey Alexander makes space and gets 2. And Richardson will certainly be asked to step up a little bit more in the absence of Jameer Young. Just got a 2-way contract with the Chicago Bulls. Congratulations to Jameer. Trey Alexander steps into a 3 and takes one.
Anyone in the NBA, and they ended up with more guards after the trade deadline too, and yet signing one out of the G League.
Forced his way onto that roster.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Although, you know, it's a scouting department in Chicago who has picked this Grand Rapids group a couple of times now. They did it with Andrew Funk last year too.
How about Alexander? And a chance at a... And Grand Rapids has been hanging around, but they've had a hard time climbing all the way back. Richardson got it poked away, but got it back. 10 to shoot for Alexander. Somehow, that was a good defensive side possession for Grand Rapids. Got everywhere they needed to until the last few ticks. Back to 13. Will Richardson canvases the lane. Alexander, all kinds of off balance, but the shot roll
matches that rebound.
Bediako is doing a good job just fighting for that, as now another turnover for the Stockton Kings.
Alexander makes him pay.
I said it.
All the way, Colby Jones makes a play on defense, and then a tough finish at the rim. 7 points for him in the early stages of this game. Alexander, the step back over Labissiere is in.
Now
Spencer Jones, Isaac Jones back in the game for the Kings in place of Terry Taylor. Alexander, turn around, beautiful.
he got that.
Jones coming up empty. Young turned on the Jets. Colby Jones was there, but the putback.
Really saying how much I appreciated the band being there every single night. Zero credit needed, Deuce. Wouldn't you write a letter thanking people for things?
A letter?
Yeah. I wrote so many thank you letters. Wow.
Old school stuff. Deuce and Mo watching NBA G League basketball, watching the Conference USA. Crawford lobs it, broken up. Nice job by Spencer Jones. The second time he's done that in this game tonight. Alexander, they give him some space. He gets to the free throw line, makes him pay. Free throw line in this game, and a close one. That could come back to haunt you a bit. It's a three-point advantage. Young off the dribble, turn around to Alexander. Jones being really aggressive with him. Alexander fading. Labissiere is at 6'10", and Andrew Funk is not 6'10", Morgan.
As Alexander.
And the Kings with the biggest lead of the game. By the way, Andre Miller, the only guy in NBA history with 16,000 points, 8,000.
Have so many of those moments, and he has 5 steals in this game. That's not even going off of some of the deflections he has as well, just getting his hand on everything.
That's a big sequence. Alexander, what an attack. 20-footer in.
Bowen was ready. He saw Kobe Jones trying to go to work, couldn't break the defense, got the ball back out, just took one dribble, jump shot.
Alexander, the answer. After the loss here to the Gold the other night, Colby misses on that three-point attempt, and Bediako with a big rebound. Alexander has the rock now. Alexander, push dribble, floats it up, gets the bounce.
Through, and instead of trying to go baseline, he saw the bodies in front of him and said, nah, I'm going to go middle, and then he elevated over everyone.
Alexander buries that jumper. Antoine Davis, he could be a spark offensively. Back to him. So you got to fight through the missed shots, Morgan. That's all there is to it. You got to play defense, get stops. Right there. Dennis, nothing looking smooth. Dexter Dennis, looked like he was hammered inside, but good defense. Alexander on the push. Alexander all the way. Just no rhythm.
No.
Colby Jones, no good from downtown. The Kings 3 of 23 from distance. And you can learn about your team on a night like this. Stockton has been playing some great basketball, 11-2. One of the best offensive teams in the league, and they're having an off night.
To recognize that Bowen is wide open down low. Miscommunication by the Gold.
Williams left the game as the team's leading scorer tonight with 15 and a nice finish. And he misses the free throw. Alexander launching a three, burying it.
His confidence is high. He was 3 of 4 from beyond the arc in the loss last night, and picks up right where he left off.
Yeah, Miller spent the longest stint of his NBA career with the Denver Nuggets, 7 seasons, and of course now he's coaching in their organization for their G League team. Alexander the three. This guy is with it. Alexander all the way. Murray with the basket. Alexander at the foul line.
Getting back in the play right there, but the Gold face on out of bounds possession. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Alexander went behind the screen and hits the shot.
Gold will have 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Inbounds comes to Horton. Alexander with the ball in his hands, 3 on the clock, goes to the rim and scoops it up and in. Just to finish that story on Bediako, he went to Alabama. Williams, his teammate, went to Auburn. They played against each other. When they found out they were going to be on the same team, it was kind of like, he says they've been really chill about it, but he said when he found out they're going to be on the same team, he clenched his fist and said it was like that because of the great college rivalry. Those two teams will be playing each other here in the next month, and the win.
This game is not over. Kind of a message that harkens back to last night. They don't want to see what happened again, and you see right there, that's the kind of thing that they don't want to happen, which is to see the Gold have an opportunity to get back down the court, but also don't want to see them have second chance points. They only had one offensive rebound in that third quarter.
Thanks to Alexander hits the jumper. Wallace to get out of the trap. And scoop up and roll off. Alexander in traffic puts it in. Lead. Alexander in the paint. Off the back of the rim. Funk picks it up. Young whips it over to Alexander for three. Hit it. Harris pulls up against Badiako and it goes off the rim. Alexander on the drive. Gold stuck on 6 points for a while until now as Alexander.
Defensively.
Thanks to you, the Skyhawks shot 57% in that first quarter and held the Gold to 28%. Alexander rattles one home a week. How about Wallace? He had the 27 against the Bulls, his NBA career high. And it wasn't just 27 points, John. He also had 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals. Another three-pointer for Plowden. That is 4 of them already. And he's got 14 points in this game. Tevian Jones try to sneak in the back door and get it. Juricic takes the three. Alexander the rebound. He's got 5 of those now. Going to pull up for a straight on three and hit it. Tevian Jones takes a fly at the basket and left it short. Alexander three, hit it. Hit that jumper.
Yeah, it does a great job getting the defense on their heels, just getting off balance, probing, keeps his dribble alive, and then the hesitation.
I know the Gold fans will be anxious to see them back in Van Andel Arena, but that won't be until February 22nd. Coach Andre Miller said they're just trying to stay afloat.
He did. He's like, it's a tough go.
Corner three, Alexander. Corner. Young is so fast. That's one of his great attributes. Gives it up to Alexander, who's at 25 points. He had 17 at halftime. Behind the back. Scoop shot up and in. Wow. Alexander hanging in the air. Banked it in. Juricic steps into the three. Alexander another rebound. 6 of those for him to go along with his 31 points. His 4th consecutive 30-plus point game. Timeout called. Clock goes under 2. Ten on the shot clock. Alexander on the dribble against Gay. Takes him to the lane. Spin, shot, bounced in, hit iron, hit back.
Plays it in. Marcus Garrett, he has 8 of the Swarm's 10 points in the opening quarter. 10-6, Swarm by 4, shot for 3. Left wing is good by Alexander. Game here with the Swarm in a half-court set. Battle has it, top of the key, goes to the foul line. Floating 15-footer is missed, and the rebound by Alexander for the Gold. Across the timeline he goes, Gold from right to left. Alexander up top, swings it up to Young, hands it off left wing to McLaughlin, and then back up front. Here to Alexander. He's picked up by Andrew McConnell, or Kendall McConnell. Here is Alexander, left elbow 2, and it goes in. Season 4th head coach in franchise history. His team won 11-5 in the NBA G League Showcase Cup. Best showing for that portion of the season in organization history. Rising, firing a 2 from the top of the key. Is loading right-hander, good! 14 points for Marcus Garrett, and the Swarm reclaimed the lead by 1, 35-34. 8 minutes exactly to go in the second quarter. Alexander rises, fires a right wing 3, and it goes in. Trying to weave through the defense. He goes to the left side, 4 to shoot, bounce pass to the lane, turn over Swarm number 9. Here come the Gold across midcourt. It's McLaughlin. Finds Tevian Jones left side. Now between the rings is Young. Back to the left side of the floor, and Alexander inside the half-court stripe. Shot clock ticking down. 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. 17 in the game clock here in the second quarter. Alexander inside the half-court stripe. He's picked up by K.J. Simpson. 5 to shoot. Alexander behind the back dribble at the foul line. Fadeaway shot. Hand in his face. Puts it up and in at the shot clock. Down another tight ball game here today on Martin Luther King Day. We thank you for joining us here on NBAGleague.com. Goal with the ball first here to begin the third quarter of play. Man-to-man defense here with the Swarm. Motion perimeter game by the goal. Left angle three up and in by Trey Alexander. 4% free throw shooter puts it in. He has 10 points. The Swarm 4 of 5 of the line, tied at 59. We're coming up on 10 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. Here's Alexander, head of the key. Works against K.J. Simpson, drives inside, hangs in the air, forces the shot up, and it's good, and he's fouled. And Simpson drops it in. Points 18 and 19 for K.J. Simpson. Swarm back on top by 1, 63-62. 9 minutes exactly now to go in the third quarter. Goal ball to the front court. Here's Alexander. Works one-on-one. Right angle against Johnson. Shot for three on the way. Good. A three. 66-65 here in the front court. Right angle Garrett at the foul line. Perry dribbles into the lane, and he lost it. Turnover Swarm number 10. Alexander across the court from left to right. Fadeaway shot to the right baseline. Then it goes in for Alex in the game here through 2.5 quarters of play. Out of the timeout, here are the goal. Down by 1 of the Swarm, 71-70. Alexander for the goal, driving inside, floating right-hander goes in down the right alley. Shot worth 2. The Swarm are 7 of 8 of the line, 77-76. Swarm back on top by 1. 3:23 to go, third quarter. Alexander for the goal, cut off of the right baseline. That goes into the lane area, floats up a right-handed shot. Count the basket and a hold. Now here come the Gold again. Down 2 here in the opening moments of the first quarter. Alexander out front with 6 to shoot. He's picked up by Marcus Garrett. Rises, fires, hits a 2. Trey place. The Swarm only shot 42% from the field in that game. Also only shot 22% from 3, 7 of 32. Coaching staff says the team needs to shoot better here in this homestand tonight. Shot for 3 goes in. 2-0 in the NBA G League Showcase, Winter Showcase in Orlando. The Gold went 1-1. Here's Alexander, shot clock inside of 10. Alexander rises, fires a 3, and it goes in. 4 for the Gold. DJ Baker wanted a moving screen there, didn't get it. Shot in the lane, missed by Young, gets his own rebound back. Alexander getting into the lane, and his scoop shot goes in. Alexander to inbound with the Gold. Williams against McConnell. 10 to shoot. Alexander doubled inside Williams. Back outside, Alexander's 3 goes in. 51-50. We're coming up on 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Johnson saves it and then loses it. Turnover Swarm, only their third of the game. Young inside, outside Alexander, puts up a 3 and it goes in. 9 points by Reggie Perry, and the Swarm have their biggest lead of the game of 11. A 9-0 run to begin the third quarter for the Swarm. Alexander trying to get inside. His floater is good. The fadeaway. Good. Keontae Johnson with 14. Extends the lead to 7 for the Swarm. Alexander. His 3 is good. We start the fourth quarter. Gold ball first. Down 3 to the Swarm. Here at the Novant Health Fieldhouse in Greensboro, North Carolina. Alexander goes inside this time. And the mid-range jumper gets the... Here's Sims, 1-on-2. Finds Perry. That's a 3. McLaughlin claims the rebound for the Gold. Alexander gets to the paint. Score the basket and a foul. Simpson surveys the defense. Inside to Perry. The pump fake. Shot rejected. He thought he was fouled. Does not get the call. They play on. Here come the Gold. Down by 3 to the Swarm. Alexander swooping inside and lays it in. Cut off by McLaughlin. Goes around McLaughlin again. Crawls off the rim on the shot. Rebound. Bediako with the Gold. Numbers for the Gold is 4-on-2. Alexander swooping to the basket and lays it in. Clock here in the Elam ending overtime session. Overtime tap, and here we go. First team to reach 123 wins the game. First possession for the Gold. Here's Alexander. Rises and fires it. It's 5 points away from the target score and the win. Again, first team to reach 123 points wins the game here in the overtime session. Alexander, game high 36, career high 36 as well. Alexander goes to the fadeaway again. Good again by Alexander.
Guy out there is Jacoby Walter, who is a first-round pick at 6'5", 180. That's their smallest player in the starting lineup.
And it just looks that way. The white uniforms really stick out. They look like jelly in this game that are assignment or two-way are representing. And we don't see that very often.
Well, we're in for a treat this evening. So far, so good. Jameer Young down the baseline with Gabe McLaughlin, who's already splashed one tonight. Now Trey with those pink Nike sneakers. Ton of contact to the lane. Blocking foul, and
right.
30 seconds to go. Grand Rapids was looking for the 2-for-1. Now 9:05 have a chance. Instead, long outlet opportunity for Alexander.
Necessarily an NBA body, but Mobo fits the deal. He's got the NBA body.
Yeah, versatile defender. Alexander cooking early, pushing through some contact by Hall. Shamshay, one of the youngest players in the NBA or G League this year. Funk, big kick out. Trey Alexander from deep. There's Shamshay for the first time. Big time defender on the swat, sends him in transition, and now a turnover the other way. Trey Alexander all alone.
And you talked about that a few games ago, Brad, brings it into light about how important good free throw shooting is, especially with the one is good for 2 points in that situation with the G League rule.
Yeah, and they shoot a ton of them too. 5th in attempts, 1st in free throw attempting first half. With the amount of talent that the 905 have in the building tonight, Grand Rapids is playing sharp.
Great
Alexander,
attitude.
Yes.
Yeah, Sharp really turned on a switch today. He's got 13 minutes of action, 4 blocks, like you said, BT, and it's hit both of his shots, couple rebounds, and stellar defense.
Trey takes contact and are the best player on the floor here in the first half.
Can't argue with that.
Here's a steal. Trey and Hall working together. Trey, working to the rim.
They've got their own struggles. Other than that rare win last night against the Celtics in Toronto, it's been a struggle bus for them.
Yeah. There's potential for this season in Toronto to be kind of a leap start year for them. Scotty Barnes, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Trey Alexander. Trey Alexander's been the best player on the floor tonight. Two-way man. Lays it in to give him 30.
Outside balance.
Miss for Liddell. Board by Miller, and Emmanuel Miller comes up short from 3.
It's an adjustment for these guys playing a 1 o'clock start. You know, they're used to practicing, late morning, early afternoon, but playing in a game is a little bit different.
Basketball players like to sleep is something we both learned over the years. So, little early tip-off as Trey Alexander hits the running floater for the first bucket.
That time Alex saw the 7-footer in his way, kind of veered off, unable to hit the shot, but they get the turnover now, another turnover.
Dueling turnovers. Alexander, the finish over Miller. Fresh 14.
Yeah, Adama back in to grab that offensive rebound, but turnover here. Breakaway for Alexander.
All by himself for the slam.
Yeah, that was easy. Back that he'll dive on the floor, he'll get a defensive rebound, he'll make the long look-ahead pass, and he's an underrated shooter from long distances we saw Saturday night. So I think that he gives you so much on both ends. Maybe not a guy that jumps out at you from the stat page, but he is so valuable to a team pulling out a win on the court.
Shot was good for Alexander.
On out.
Sonogo
yeah,
pushed
go
it
to the
out.
gold.
Good eye for Andre Miller. Those eyes have seen a lot of basketball.
That's for sure.
Alexander for three. Boom.
Talked about him in our keys.
Jalen Williams, strong on a three. Hall offensive rebound. And then Alexander swirls in, finishes falling down.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he's Ben Coupet.
Former Simeon star from Chicago. A little local flavor in his third year with Windy City. Funk to Alexander. From the free throw line. Rattles in. 19 points.
Everyone, with Mike Coleman, I'm Brad Tunney, along with the rest of our tremendous Van Andel Arena television crew. Happy to have you along for the ride as Grand Rapids looks to move to 3-1, off to a good start during this regular season portion of the schedule. Meanwhile, Westchester 1-3, and Trey Alexander.
Your hats, folks, because no team has more field goal attempts in the G League than Westchester. They are lightning electric up and down the court.
Two of the best teams in the G League since they started tipping it off back in November. 12-6 start for Westchester. Some token full court pressure here. Forces Trey Alexander, who's rocking some lightly pink colored sneakers tonight.
Yeah, we've seen those a few times. He doesn't wear them all the time, but special occasion. This is definitely one against a high-octane team in Westchester.
Alexander has 4 of the 6, and make it now 6, who takes advantage. His second bucket.
Yeah, sorry, Brad. Little flat foot baby hook, the 7'2" frame with that long wingspan. Tough to defend.
First three-point attempt of the night for Grand Rapids is.
We will see all year, all set up by another offensive rebound, and for Westchester, that is their 12th.
Plus 16 rebound margin. Alexander kicking. OKK. Tadier couldn't get it.
Ooh, he went up. He had a shot.
Trey behind the back. Ewing to the rim. The lefty kiss. That sends them into good half-court sets like they just had right there in transition. Rebound margin right now 47-22.
Yeah, that's you don't see that very often. That's like a Yeti sighting. Oh, McLaughlin with a tough fall, weird angle.
Alexander jabs, hoists, and banks it in.
Looking at his numbers this year, he's been 20 plus 9 of his 11 games in a gold uniform, flirting now with 17.
Alexander in the lane, stopping, popping, and
he really has impressed. The first-round draft pick out of Detroit back in 2020, 210 NBA games. That's no accident. Nice. Trey Alexander, mid-range.
Timmy is slowly staking his claim on best player on the floor tonight. Already 15 for him, 7 of 10 shooting. He's been pushing tempo for them. Distributor, rebounder. It's been really good.
Certainly has.
Standings, Grand Rapids' second best overall record. Long Island mired with just 2 wins on the year.
And both of these teams, the youngest teams in the G League.
Yeah.
I think a guy like Woolman can really settle down a young team. He's been in the big show. He's averaged almost 6 points in his career in the end. Over to Alexander. Good sell of the fake. Goes up. Initiates contact. Offensive rebound. Boy, McLaughlin's been everywhere underneath tonight. 10 to shoot. Good ball motion. Corner pocket. Bingo! Trey Alexander.
Second half.
Well, Grand Rapids facing a team that has 2 new starters in really the last 4 days with a sign of a Woolman and Drew Timmy. As now Alexander stops, pops, connects from the free throw line.
Well,
I think Gold catch a break.
They just never controlled it. Tevian Jones walled him up. Good athleticism in transition to get back.
Indeed.
Not commit the foul.
Andrew Funk, 3 out of 5 from 3. He's shot the ball well in the last 5 or 6 games from deep, 40%, which doesn't seem like much, but he was hovering around 25, 26% the majority of the season from deep, and he shot 39% last year. 3 ball on the way. Affiliate with Austin. Had to shut down his season. Long Island responds. Alexander trying to come into that 5-point deficit, and he does. Trey Alexander.
His elbow or look at the basketball.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Open look. McLaughlin in the corner. Skims off. Offensive rebound. New life for GR. Quick putback by Alexander. 18-footer Yahtzee. Shooting 32 points.
Again, Grand Rapids doubles there at midcourt, whether it was planned or not.
Alexander responds for a rainbow trip.
What a long-range jumper. Fade away. Alexander knocks it down.
And Michael Fosso Jr. either great peripheral or eyes in the back of his head to find Leakey on the arc.
Nice crossover. Alexander, floater. Got it. And ripped by Young. He gives it up. Alexander. And that's good.
But
good ball movement for the Nuggets. Andrew Funk, no good. Bediako, offensive board. No whistle. That was blocked from behind by Funk. Kicked out. Alexander good. Hands are spread out throughout the arena today. And Stevenson misses. Young's got it. Oh, he's pushing it. Outside to Alexander. Trey Alexander fires a three. Got it. Possession so important. 6-point ball game as we approach the final 2 minutes here. Regular season opener for the Go-Go. Fadeaway's good.
D. Davidson working on Bediako. Launches and comes up empty. Trey Alexander has room, wants three. He's got it. 25 points as part of their victory over Oklahoma City. Here's a steal for Alexander, and he takes two. But Hassan Ward, an amazing year he's had. 5 college seasons, basically a defensive specialist, but his season has been very good offensively. Trey Alexander, his season's been good offensively. Harper Jr., the older brother of one of the best players in all of college basketball, makes it a 15-point lead. Trey Alexander counters, who plays at the same school that Ron Jr. played at. That's Rutgers. Here's a steal. Jameer Young with numbers. Alexander for three. Yes! Live action we go. What a start for GR. 65 points in the first half. Trey Alexander trying to pick up where he left off. So whether it's the injury or being a junior college player, Jay Scrubb has always been battling some sort of adversity. 3 seconds to shoot. Alexander buries it. Reserves, or at least a mixture of the two, maybe just trying to go with some of the players that helped get them a lead, or at least a bit of a run in that third quarter. Alexander attacks and scores. Trey Alexander wants three. He gets three. A night that would make Papa proud. 104-81. Alexander from the baseline. That's two. Showing where he got clipped on one of his three-point tries. There's Trey Alexander trying to fight for his own rebound. Then he sticks it with the
names. And look at that third name right there.
Hey, that means I'm old. More importantly, look at 0-1. Zagana Diop.
Yep.
Who is, of course, the Westchester Knicks head coach, the first player to come out of Oak Hill, out of high school.
Yes, sir. So you, Strick, Stack.
Get some names on there.
Knicks get the roll there from Ball. Here's your cousin, Trey Alexander. I heard you claiming him the other day.
Oh, that's my guy. And I tried to recruit him to come to Oak Hill, by the way, when I was coaching there. Couldn't get him.
Hits the elbow jumper.
Added back to the lineup for the Knicks, getting it back in, showing how serious it is for the Knicks to be able to win this Showcase Cup, getting a couple guys back on the roster.
They want to defend, man, and Alexander with...
And, you know, this team has won 7 games in a row, and I believe almost every game they've won the rebound game. So we want to make sure that we're in the boards, we're not beating ourselves, and we're getting back in transition.
G-League is, of course, you're going to lose some of your guys, which makes it difficult for you to try to get to the championship at the end. But they did have the $100,000 to show for it.
And again, the two ways and the assignment players do not get that. As Alexander hit. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Bowie, tough shot. Rebound goal. Alexander going downhill. He gets fouled and gets the shot.
The way.
And McLaughlin checks out. P.J. Hall checks back in. Alexander steps into a three. Gets the friendly bounce.
Jay Cook, the nice touch on the move to tie it up.
I tell you what, it's going to be, you're hard pressed to find a better rookie backcourt than what you're seeing with Jameer Young and Trey Alexander. And OKC had a lot of injuries early, still dealing with the injury to Chet Holmgren. So Leon, one of the guys that can absolutely help them out, but also trying to help to get to a spot and then crash downhill for the bucket. I love the patience by Logan Johnson on that one, who's really become much more of a point guard for this blue team. Spent the majority of his career at St. Mary's off the basket. First quarter, allowing OKC to get back into it. What do you guys got to get back to the way you started?
Pace, more pace, just awareness of their shooters. You know, this is probably the #1 shooting team in the G League as far as field goal made. Just being aware of what's going on. You know, just being aggressive downhill, trying to get to the basket, and then we'll kick.
G League basketball.
Leone's working on Bediako. Bediako the block. Grand Rapids on the move. It's Alexander taking on two.
Trey Alexander from Jameer Young, attacking and playing with pace in transition, getting downhill. And even though they're two defenders, when you've got them on their heels, you continue to attract them, try to get to the rim. That P.J. Hall went undrafted. At the Combine, there were so many people that were excited about him being in the draft process.
Oklahoma City with their starters back in and a 6-point lead midway through the second quarter. Alexander catch and shoot, cash.
The half on.
Dating back to the second quarter, it's 14 in a row for Oklahoma City. Alexander fading away. Two-hand over the rim.
No, strong layup. That was not a dunk, my friend.
I wouldn't know. So Alexander.
When he gets
Johnson try to whip it inside, but through too much traffic, and Alexander has it for Grand Rapids.
That was forced by Logan Johnson on that one. He's got to take a page out of P.J. Hall's basketball when he gets it back. You got to be ready to shoot the basketball.
Alexander off of, and there's Cook letting out some frustration with a two-handed flush.
Well, that's one thing we haven't seen a lot of throughout this game is uncontested opportunities in the paint.
Alexander goes right down. And number 20.
This is number 20.
Yeah.
So the first one was in 04-05.
Was in the 4th year of the league, and they didn't play the 2021 season because of the pandemic.
Okay, so it would have been the
Back-to-back days with action between these two in-state rivals. With Dan Hasty, I'm Brad Tunney. Good to have you with us from wherever and however you're tuning in.
It is great to be with you, BT. It is as simple as it gets for the Grand Rapids Gold tonight. It is win, and you are in, thanks to that 120-112 win for the Gold yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, big-time win for them. Part of the reason why was that. Up and down pace early. Motor City, you don't want to say they have nothing to play for, so a lot of pride, so a lot of action here. In particular is
watch what P.J. Hall was able to do, and the ball just sort of finds you if you're P.J. Hall. He was in the right place at the right time, was able to read shots, and in some ways they were able to give Bediako a bit of a rest in that second half, maybe to use him a little bit more tonight.
Alexander is probing, pulling, stopping, drawing, and hitting. And Chester tonight. Those two teams playing for a spot in the Showcase Cup as well. Greensboro a 2-point lead. Similar spots in the game, about 7.5 to go in the second. Alexander to the tin.
Especially Jenkins, who's 8 of 12 from the floor. He's been deadly.
Alexander into the paint. Good spot for him. Floats it. Smith makes the free throw. And 3-point play there out of nowhere for Tolu Smith.
Well, if it wasn't a close game, it wouldn't be a Grand Rapids Gold game. So many close decisions for this team throughout the course of this tip-off tournament, throughout the course of the early part of the year.
There's Trey. Into the lane, stopping, popping, hitting for two. Retied. Young. Alexander. Off the high window. It's the second.
Even just splitting that pair with the way that this team has the ability to shoot threes feels valuable for Motor City.
Now a two-possession possibility for Motor City. Again, we're only playing to 120. There is no clock. First team to 120. Alexander gets the bounce off the heel. They've got 5.
With the big club, former Clemson Tiger to the rack. Got his own offensive rebound. Trey Alexander from the top. And Grand Rapids.
Long, he can rebound. Tremendous shooter. We talked about 49% this year from three, and he can score.
Alexander soars through the defense and gets City lead. A Motor City team that had 5 different NBA call-ups last year. A steal for Trey Alexander. He takes 2.
Boy, Akko, he had a season-ending meniscus tear last year after 30 games with Austin, and maybe taking him a while to get back into form, but he certainly has come on the last 5 or 6.
Trey Alexander. Creates and scores. Fights through contact. Can't get it to go, but there's Jameer Young. Keeps it alive. P.J. Hall. Alexander keeps the feed in bounds. Spencer Jones, quiet day for him so far. Alexander streaks for 2. Have to look out for him.
That is a fact.
85-73. For a moment, Grand Rapids had its largest lead. Alexander pushes his way in and scores.
Going against a veteran's average for 10 games in his career.
Trey Alexander now on the floor to P.J. Hall, a pair of two-way players. Alexander coming off the bench tonight. He has been a stud at this level. Scoops with the left, and he's got it.
Just 9%. They have tortured their average for 34% online.
Third meeting. Good thing you mentioned that is Trey Alexander percent from 3. Young sculpts the offense with a hand here to Jones. Trey gets it back. To the free throw line, he'll rise and stuff the stocking. I'm asking, looking at the numbers right now, how has Indiana taken 9 more shots despite losing the rebound battle by 7? It's those turnovers. Indiana's only turned it over twice. Grand Rapids has not scored a single point off a turnover yet.
That is huge. Smaller lineup for both teams. All the bigs out at the moment on both sides of the basketball.
Alexander to the rim. Too easy for Trey. Indiana still shooting just 27% from deep. Grand Rapids 36%. Alexander getting to his spot and rolls it home. Right, and what was a commonality with Grand Rapids compared to this Wisconsin team? Roster changes early on last year, and so there are easy signs to point at when teams struggle in the G League. It's a
mid-range responding on the other end is a nice basket by Tyler Smith, former second-round pick, played with the G League Ignite, no longer with us. It's fun while it lasted. Hook pass out to Alexander, and he converts for the 3.
Off the dribble enough for his size, defends well, hustles, does everything you want from a coaching staff perspective.
Short on the Thompson delivery. I'm glad you brought that up. Jalen Williams, I was surprised what a good three-point shooter he has turned out to be early on. Step back, Alexander. My, oh my, what a touch. Thompson, floater, short, put back. Inside a minute remaining. GR not with numbers as Alexander gets checked nicely, near side defensively. Boy, that step back, that is fast.
Got to his dominant left and finished high.
Oh, the razzle and the dazzle by A.J. Johnson. Took a shot to the face, but none the worse with a good finish. Alexander bobbing, weaving, stepping back, and finishing. The trade.
Obviously respect him from the three-point line as the lane is good there. And so when he's able to collapse the defense, that's the second or third time he's found an open cutter for a basket now.
Always been a decent rebounder, too, for a guard. Gives you around 4 a game. Thought about setting the high screen. He's going to let Alexander work. Step back from the right elbow. Alexander, another.
Trusted by Andre Miller here to start the fourth as well.
Bieniemy, not much action in that third quarter, but misses the mid-range. Quickly come GR. Alexander will work that offense.
He's got a big pulled out on him. He's going to take advantage here.
Yeah, Nays.
Yeah.
Got the quickness and one as they get
back on the floor for Johnson.
I didn't see a lot of minutes in the third for Baji. I don't know if he just can't do a lot of volume as Alexander tries to step back. You bet. G League split into 2 seasons, really, is AJ trying to make a move. Grand Rapids over the century mark. Looking for more. Alexander, Euro step off the window.
Every other division is still within a game right now, so a 2-game lead at 9-1. They've been really good.
3 ball by Johnson. Jones on the run. Wheels around. Greeted by Bieniemy. Trying to ISO on the near side. Almost went over the half-court line. 2:50 to play. 12 on the shot clock. Grand Rapids in the driver's seat here on this Thursday night. Trying to move to 6-4. Alexander over Ellenson, yes! Falls leading Windy City. Sioux Falls trying to move to 8-4, so it won't be any easier for Grand Rapids on the 8th of December when they travel to play the Sky Force. But would love to go in with a convincing win, and it looks to be the case.
I would assume Trey's going to call himself again here. Yep, and one, baby.
Finger rolls it in, and one, baby.
4th year in the G League for Obadiah Noel, the 25-year-old. Played for Westchester last year. Here's Alexander coming off 31 points against Cleveland and hits the step back.
You're not going to find many guys stronger than Ish Lane.
250, a lot of muscle there.
A lot of muscle.
Straight away, open 3. Alexander, it's good. Here's Funk going down the lane, missed it over Okafor, but Iako active once again. 3rd try for Grand Rapids, and Alexander gets us off bounds. And the only healthy point guard tonight for Indiana, Dakota Mathias, had been really the backup point guard with Harmon hurt, but now Mathias out with injury. The athleticism from McGriff on display in the Mad Ants, back up by 9. Grand Rapids really struggling from the floor still. 29% compared to 55% for Indiana. Step back and nailed.
Out there, getting in there.
And now it's Alexander with the swipe. In transition for the jam. Many healthy point guards out there might come into play with that pressure coming late in the game.
As a team, this is an opportunity for you as a team to continue to grow in mind and just say, hey, settle down. They're just getting back in the game. It's okay. They're going to make a run.
The lead past 12 from their perspective. They just haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, you don't want to turn the ball over. You don't want to continue to give them second chance points from offensive rebounds.
James can hit some tough shots. He's up to 9 points. Alexander creating some late space.
A bit away from home has been pretty impressive.
And what's really been nice is they're on pace for one of their best starts ever in tip-off tournament part of the season. It's the first part of the regular season of 50 games, and one more and they'll tie their all-time record in their 4th season. We'll get the lineups for you. As Jalen Pickett, boy, he been just a steady Eddie player. Trey Alexander, how about that for Grand Rapids goals?
And he was tested. I mean, he played in the NCAA tournament out in Detroit, as a matter of fact, and played against some high-level competition. Had a lot of success as part of that tournament in his appearance as part of the Sweet 16 and then to the Elite 8.
Working it near side, 9 on the shot clock. Trey Alexander, 8 games with the Nuggets. Step back, 3 ball, nothing but money.
Boy, been talked about for a while, but now we finally get to see it. It's a thing of beauty.
Travers tried to no-look, stolen. Alexander on the other end. Inside to Spencer Jones. Perfect give and go. And Grand Rapids moving the battle. Likes of Jay Huff, who went back and forth with Denver, who's with Memphis now. But we got Bediako, and we got guys like Williams, who plays tall. And then P.J. Hall, we have the pleasure of seeing him on a couple of games a year. Nice finish by Alexander.
If you're Grand Rapids, final 3 minutes, you just want to work the basketball close to the hoop, get those high percentage shots, and get a nice, comfortable lead into the locker room.
60-46. Grand Rapids trying to get off the schneid against this Charge franchise. And a good look. Alexander in the backside, and Brown converts on the other end for the Charge. Both teams with high assist ratios per game, and we're seeing a little bit of that tonight. If Cleveland can rein in the turnovers, three-ball corner or three-pointer of this ball game, and that kind of quiets the crowd here on this Saturday night.
Well, the lion's share of the points are coming from 4 different Cleveland players in this game. Hughes, Brown, Bernard, Travers.
That is a fact.
Get with that little time left on the shot clock.
Agreed. Open look. Nance has plenty of time to cue it up, but that one skirts off. That would have made things extremely tight. Skip pass. Corner pocket. You betcha. Funk not needing much help as they're shooting 55% here in this third quarter. Lob pass inside, taken away. Alexander looks behind him. Crossover in traffic, the step back, so smooth. That is what he just knows how to get the good basket. Played with the Utah Jazz, Trailblazers in the big league. Approaching the 2-minute mark, third quarter here in Grand Rapids. Finish and one. Gold quickly over that Gentex Corporation sign. Funk for three. Good positioning by Pickett down low. Was able to tip it to a teammate. Another three-ball try. You betcha.